Let me show you how you can replicate this kind of progress bar chart. You've seen them in a lot of book ratings, and I wondered how can you create this one in Power BI. So first, in terms of the data that I have, is basically the reviews for given books here. So you can see whenever we have a review date here, there is a rating that the customer left for a given book title. So I have two dates in this table, the transaction date and the review date. Both are connected to the calendar table so that I'm able to filter by period. But the primary active is transaction date to the date, and therefore the review date, which is also connected to the date, is a secondary relationship that is inactive. With that context, then I need to count the number of reviews that fall into each star rating. So I'll put that measure in a table like this. So I'll go to the table measure and then choose the rating star, put it on the table, and then go ahead. I have a measure that tells me how many reviews were left. So this is how it looks like. It's not a straight count because the review date is not the primary date. So I have to use that use relationship measure. If I put it on this table, you can see the different reviews as such. So this is what we want to present in a progress bar chart as we have seen here. So a progress bar chart ideally has the field part and then the remaining part, which should add up to 100%. So the first thing I would want to do is to change this number of reviews. Instead of seeing the row number, I'll go ahead and right click or even left click here and choose the option that says show values as. In this case, because we don't have all the variables, I can just go ahead and percent of grand total. So that's how it will appear. So as we've said, the progress bar chart has the whole part, which should add up to 100%, and then the covered area, which will be these percentages here. So I'll go ahead and create a measure here. It's called whole. It's going to use a placeholder, which is basically a 1, because 100% is the same thing. So if I put it here, some books were not reviewed, so I do not want to see this gap there. So I'll go ahead and under filters for the rating, I want to put that blank off so that I just retain whatever has a rating. Next, I would want to convert this one to a budget, a clustered budget like that. As you can see, any place that had a 1, it goes all the way from 0 to 100%. But the other bars here are showing at the exact position. If this was 51%, that's why it shows. The next thing we want to do is just apply some bit of formatting. Be on the y-axis, I want to put off the title that says rating star. For the legend, I don't want to show that. That's how it will look like. And similarly, for the x-axis, I will put off both the title as well as the values, because those will become the data labels. So the next thing we'd want to update here is the bars. So if I go to the bar settings here, you can see there is two choices here, percentage as well as the whole. For the whole, let me start with that. I want to choose a different color, maybe thereabout should be just fine. So I'll go ahead and under series, I'll change that to percentage of total. If you prefer, you can change this color. Because most cases we use orange, let me just go ahead and choose this orangish color. So I'll switch the series back here to all, navigate down here to layout, and under layout, what we have, and this is the magic, is the overlap feature. So if I switch this one on, nothing much happens here, but you can change these percentages that you see here. The space between series, we want to switch to 100% so that there's a complete overlap between the two series. Unfortunately, the order here matters. So I'll go back to this visual and then interchange these two. So I'll go to this chart itself. On the top right, you'll see three dots here. I will change how the axis is being sorted. So I want this one to not be sorted by whole. As you can see here, I want it to use the star rating. And I think in terms of the order, descending is fine, so that you start from 5-star all the way to 1-star. So this is how it looks like currently. So the next thing we'd want to add is the data labels. So here what we need is to go ahead and enable the data labels. Here we just switch this one on. As you can see here, the labels appear for this series. I want for the whole, this one should not show because that's the placeholder of some sort. But for this other one, it's fine. It can show, no problem. I would want to go to this value, and instead of this one showing the display units, I will want to change to none. The number of decimals, I don't want to have the precision of 2. Maybe let me just go with 0 as such. Now, going back to the data labels here, maybe for the whole, we could also enable the series. But for the value, instead of whole, I would want to go with the number of reviews. So I'll just overwrite here so that it shows the number of reviews. Let me make it black, maybe a darker shade of black. For the positioning, I can switch this one to be outside end and then play around with the x-axis so that it doesn't cut out these numbers. For the x-axis, the minimum should be 0 because we are always starting from 0. The maximum, if I put 1 because we are running from 0 to 100%, the numbers will appear inside, but I want it to be outside. So maybe I can say 1.15 or thereabout. You have liberty to play with that as well. So this is the chart we've been able to create so far, and it's working perfectly okay. But just in case you'd want both the percentage and the absolute value to be as one label, so I've gone ahead and created 2 measures. The first one is a measure that gives me the percentage. Remember, initially, we simply used the default settings for Power BI to convert the absolute number to a percent. But in this case, you need a measure if you need more control. But I also have another one that is the number of reviews like we saw previously. So we need to combine those two into one measure, and the measure is looking like this. So I'll go ahead and make a copy of this chart, Control C, Control V. So after I copy paste on this second chart, I would want to strip it of the first data labels for this percentage of grand total. I want to put that off like that. But for this other one, for the whole series, as you remember, we had this number of reviews. Instead of this number of reviews, we will overwrite it with our custom data label. So I'll just put it there. As you can see now, we have the number as well as the percentage on the inside the brackets. So here you may want to adjust the x-axis where it ends. Remember we had updated to 1.15. Maybe let's try 1.3. And this one, I think it's perfect for a scenario as such. So if you like this tutorial and you'd want to follow me for more, I'll appreciate that. Please go ahead and click repost so that this can reach more people. And I appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next one.